it's Karen here with Sisterhood of the Wild Feminine. I am going to do a collective reading today for the Divine Feminine, just to give a little bit of insight and guidance as to what spirit, what source, what your higher power is calling all of us as a collective forward into doing over the next couple of days. And so what I'm going to do is a 10-card reading. It is called Hearing Spirit Speak. It's one of my more popular spreads that I do. And like I said, this is for the collective energy. So take what resonates, leave the rest at the door. And if you feel really called to get a little bit more of an individual or a personalized message, you can go ahead and book. I'm going to drop a link right on in the video description. Okay. So I do use 4 different decks. You can't really see them because of the way the video is, but I'm going to use Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light, the Akashic Tarot deck. I'm using the Archangel Animal deck, and then Moonology from Yasmin Boland. So I'm going to get started here. First card comes from the Akashic Tarot, and it's going to answer what our current relationship is. So what is currently happening with us and spirit. I'm going to pull all 10 cards right up front, just in the energy of time, or to, there we go, to get going with time. He was backwards. And so the second card is going to be what our current blockage is. So a lot of us have very different blocks. This is going to just kind of, well then. So we got 4 cards for that. It was supposed to be a 10-card reading, but we got lots going on. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. Not done with that one yet. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting all those beautiful cards, powerful cards to come through for us. You know, somebody was saying about how I've started shuffling, and I'm finding that the results are a lot more effective, are a lot more, a lot of clarity. So who's coming through is Odin, and as many of you know, Odin has been coming through quite frequently in my channel lately. He's got a lot to say about the divine masculine, but even more than the masculine, he's really saying to the divine feminine, like, hey girls, hey ladies, or whoever communicates with, you know, or is, these cards are killing me. He is coming forward and saying, you know, a little tap on the shoulder, keep your eyes going on your path. Don't be so focused on what other people, specifically the divine masculine, is doing, that it's their road, their journey. And the best thing that we can actually do for them is to address our own issue, our own crap, I'll say. So some of these cards are coming out all at once. So the next one is the Archangel Animal card, and I love to use that one to get an understanding of what they're going to what your guide is going to use as a sign to communicate what's happening. Ooh. All right. That card was face up in the deck. All right, so let's get going. So the first set of cards I'm going to go over our current relationship with Source. There were 3 that came out of the Akashic. I'm going to go over them. I'm just going to show all 3 of them, and then I'll talk about the energies. So we have Archangel Raphael, which we know he's the master healer. He's actually the 8th card in that deck, so he's a trump card in that deck. We have the 5 of Forces, which is summer and winter. And then we have the King of Scrolls. So currently what we're doing is Source is very much working with us, collaborating with us on our healing. We are entering this phase of summer so we're stepping into the light. We're stepping into kind of the joyful, playful side, the playful energy. And what we're doing, what we have facing away from us, so facing away from the other 2 cards, is the King of Scrolls. So just symbolizing that many energies or many people that we are kind of concerned about, or who are on our path, are actually, they're looking away, they're doing their own work. But our energy, our specific work right now, or what we've been focused on, is our own healing. And we're coming out of that. We're coming into the warmth of summer, letting the sun shine down upon us. So I know many of us and most of the people within my tribe are actually entering the fall, the end of fall, early winter phases of their actual season. But even though that the season is the opposite of what we're going through, we're going to be able to navigate that quite nicely. And so our current blockage, what I'm sensing, and I'm going to go over each card, the current blockage is that we're focusing way too much on an alternative path, or we're kind of looking at it as a path of multiple people. So I'm feeling, and I know that a lot of people that watch my videos will resonate with this, our path is very much focused on a certain outcome and a certain interaction and dynamic and connection. And I'm going to tell you why I find that. So we have Radha, which is soul flame. So she is the part of ourself that's lost. So we've been so focused on something else, someone else, that we've neglected a certain aspect of our own journey. So that's a blockage that we're seeing come up. We have Kuthumi, cloak of wisdom. So this is knowing that it's accepting that we have the answers we seek. A lot of us are seeking answers outside of ourselves. We're having the card readings. We're going to psychics. We're constantly watching different tarot readings on YouTube, on Facebook, but you're constantly seeking the answer. You're looking for confirmation outside of yourself. And this is a big blockage to actually hearing what your guides are saying, because your guides are really emphasizing that you already know the answer. You already have it within you. It's merely digging in and finding those answers and then trusting them. Now we also have the Miriam, which is sacred vision. This is choosing to forgive in order to heal. So a lot of us are holding on to anger. We're holding on to guilt, shame, fear. We're holding on to that, and it's blocking. It's preventing the universe from flowing into our life and creating blessings and showing us our abundance. And then the final card is Lord Shiva, which is transcendence. So many of us are aware that we are on this path of ascension. And this has come up quite frequently, where we're so conscious of the fact that we have stuff to heal, that we're looking to navigate this ascension path, that we've lost sight of the fact that we can function here as human, that we're here, we chose to incarnate, we chose to experience separation from source so that we could come back to that union and that we could grow. But part of that growing is being present in our physical body just as much as we're working our spiritual path. So a lot blocking, a lot of energy, but you can definitely see the thread that's being woven, which is we are very distracted. We are, I almost feel like when we're getting readings, and okay, so this is why Odin is here. When we're getting these readings, we are getting them, or we're looking at them because we want insight. We want to peek into what is happening in somebody else's world. And this is a calling back to your inner wisdom, your truth, knowing that you're here to live your life and not be so distracted. And I'm hearing the word obsessed. So not being so obsessed with what's going on somebody else's path, whether that be a romantic connection. The other thing that's kind of coming through is business competition. So perhaps you're an entrepreneur, or you're in a certain job where there's competition, or I'm feeling like there's this idea that you're competing for clients, and recognizing that there's more than enough to go around for everybody, that nobody is the same as you, and there will always be excess, or there will always be enough to go around. Okay, so who's trying to get through? We have Odin which just kind of cracks me up because my daughter selected a goddess card for me earlier today, and it was Freya, Odin's twin. So he's psychic insight. He's coming because he wants you to know, he's confirming we have the answers. We don't need to keep looking. We don't need to keep looking for validation, for confirmation. We don't need to start or continue to pour our story out there. It's a form of chasing. The more you talk about your story, the more you you rehash details and dig into it, the more you're kind of chasing that energy in your life, or you're sending that energy out. And what you want to do is be in this space of acceptance of what you've been through and where you are right now. He's also indicating that your third eye is open. And so one of the things that I like to tell people to do when you are experiencing this expansion is start to imagine that you're breathing through your third eye, kind of guiding it to stay open, to let you see clearly. It just keeps it fresh. It keeps you in that intuitive space, is to breathe through it. And so our history with Odin, he has created a lot of fated meetings. So destiny moments for us is what I'm hearing and what I'm getting. He has been with us the whole time. He is that powerful masculine energy, but our own masculine. He's always come through with this call to one of the messages that has come up from him is show up to your own damn battle. Forget about what else is going on. Forget about what understanding somebody else's dark night of the soul is what I'm getting from him. This is about you. And the more you focus on somebody else, the more you go and look for that confirmation of what somebody else is going through, the longer you prolong your timeline. You prolong getting what you want, what you need and desire. Okay, but it is this kind of idea that he's created, and he's been with us in these destiny moments, and he's willing to create more of them. He wants to be present and drive the journey forward for us. But the fact that we have all of this distraction going on, and this is something that's been coming through not personally for me, but that I'm receiving through my channel for the collective, that we're very distracted from our own healing, from our own path. Okay? And so the big lesson here from Odin is that we have got to address, this is the Four of Roses, the views of the ego. So this is a turning inward. This is a call to come home to the mirror exercises, address what's being reflected back to us. For those of you who are watching that are twins, I want you to be very aware that it's not just what your twin is reflecting. This is a big mirror exercise where, and like I said earlier, I got that intuitive hit that it's about business, it's about work as well. Acknowledging that some of the things that are being reflected back to you through other entrepreneurs, through other coworkers, from your boss. It's not limited. Like I said, this is if you're a twin. Sometimes we kind of let the mirror stop right at like this divine counterpart, but it's so much deeper. And the real healing comes when we look at it from all of life, all that's transpiring around us. Okay, I will tell you, I feel like this is just an echo of what Odin came through about a month ago to say, if I'm being completely honest. So I feel like maybe it's a call that the message isn't getting out there, or you're neglecting the message. So take a moment after we finish and just think about where it is that you're putting your energy that isn't relevant to your path right now. Even if it's the outcome is contingent on somebody else right now, that's really disempowering, by the way. Like, we have to get out of that headspace. We have to get out of that mindset where the only reasonable and acceptable outcome is it to end with a certain person or contingent on somebody else's energy. We have to step into this space of what we're creating for ourselves as individuals. And so I feel like Odin is just really saying, listen up, because this is now the second time. And he's got very ballsy energy. I mean, he's a god. He's the god of war and romance, so he can be. I mean, plus he's a god, they can be. But it is like a very in your face, listen up, woman, get it together, because I've said this once and now I'm having to say it again. And it's uncomfortable. I mean, I'm kind of chuckling because this is like the fourth time that I've seen him in a week. and not just in the card, like I've seen him manifest in front of me. So it is a very strong he's like the father energy where he's like, get it together is what I'm hearing. Get it together. Okay. So where are we learning this lesson? We have the new moon in Leo, which is all about confidence being the key to success. So we are actually being asked to step into our worth, step into our own value and own it. Know that we have gifts, we have spiritual gifts, we have, concrete skills, whether they be reading cards, building brands, owning a bookstore, whatever comes to mind. We have those gifts that we're not owning yet. We're not claiming them, where you kind of have to, coming back, I know I'm really driving this home, but like coming back to Odin and this powerful staff, like plugging it down into the ground and saying like, this is who I am, this is what I'm here to do, and having the confidence to put that out there and do that. I know like this has come up for me earlier this week where I felt like I was being told that I wasn't ready to do something. And so I retracted an offer or a webinar experience, which I'm hearing this message loud and clear. I should not have done that. I should have still moved forward. And so it's time for me to readdress. Okay. So what are we being asked to do? This is definitely, this is new moon in Pisces. We're being asked to meditate and contemplate. So it is about doing that deep dive, but not stopping there. A lot of times we do the deep dive, we find out the information and we don't move with it. Transformation happens on the level of action, not on the level of thought. So once you find those little holes or pockets that you're maybe not rising into it or stepping into your power, stepping into this confidence, you have to take a step. You need to do whatever it is, but you have to do a movement, an action. It can't just be that you're going to shift your mindset, because I find that even when you're trying to shift your mindset, shifting it on a thought level is not going to help you as much as taking action to be proven that you're right, that new mindset, that new thought pattern actually is valid, because here you are, look at you doing it. Okay. So that's what are you being asked to do, where the lesson is going to show up. So here you go. So this is the new moon in Taurus. And so all three of these are new moon. This is manifesting. This is putting those intentions out there and letting them kind of come home. So the new moon in Taurus is all about prosperity in our actions. So as you step into your confidence, as you not just think about what needs to change, but make the physical changes, take the actions, you're going to have a influx of abundance. However that's going to manifest, I don't know. I'm not necessarily hearing money. Like, I'm not hearing that the abundance is going to be an influx of cash. It will be for many of us, but I'm hearing soul sisters coming home to each other. Maybe not soul sisters, maybe just soul tribe, soul pod in general, but it is like a coming home, a calling things to you that you need at this point in your life to navigate through this energy. Okay, so how Odin is going to communicate and tap us on the shoulder as a little reminder is actually the energy of the llama. So a lot of us are going to start seeing llamas. It might be a Pinterest post with something inspirational on it with a llama. But the llama is all about setting clear boundaries. It's about enforcing them. So thinking about what your boundaries are, and then really, once again, staking that staff into the ground and letting them be unmovable. And it's just a sign of respect. Now, interestingly enough, the llama works very intimately with Archangel Chamuel, who is the angel of love. And so one of the most loving things we can do for ourselves on this journey is to have boundaries. In fact, that's one of the big lessons for so many of us. I know that's one of the ones that I have worked through very early on in my path, continuously creeps up. And so what you need to do is just figure out where it is. What I'm hearing is giving away your power, draining your energy into things because you're being asked to do them. So this comes back to that work where you're giving your time and energy to things that you're not naturally gifted in. And so it's not just taking the time that it takes to do the thing, it's also learning how to do it. The fact that it's taking you longer because it's not a natural gift. So working from your strengths rather than your weaknesses. We have strengths for a reason. Work them, have the confidence to use them, have the confidence to say, that's not one of my gifts, but you know who is so good at that? And point your finger over to a person and like give them the credit that they deserve. Okay. And while I said that, I actually have some weird timer going on my phone, but when I said give somebody the credit that they deserve, the timer was at 11:11. So ding, there we go. Look for the people that you're not passing it over to them in like shirking responsibility. You're actually honoring and celebrating that somebody else has this beautiful ability to do something that you can't, and celebrating that for them rather than like getting into this competitive energy. Okay. And so how are we going to nurture that? There's a lot of psychic energy in this. There's a lot of tapping into your guides, tapping into spirit and source. And so how are you going to nurture that? It's the Oracle of Delphi. So this is the priestess that sat on the mountain and divined information straight from source. So this is, and you guys saw me pull these cards live. There was no, although that one was flipped up. So you got me on that one, but this wasn't intentional. I didn't anticipate this ending here. This is a call to tap into your spirit guides, to tap into source, your higher self. And oddly enough, I do have, starting tomorrow, starting on Monday, the 11th on 11/11, here we go. I do have a pop-up group coming to Facebook. It's a 5-day experience where I'm going to coach you through understanding what's blocking you from getting your support from your spiritual support team, but also getting that first piece of wisdom that you're going to take and put into action. And so I will drop a link for that. It really wasn't planned, crossed my heart. It just kind of, the cards fell that way, but it's going to be an awesome 5-day experience with high vibe women sharing the circle with you. It's going to be a lead in to doing deeper work. I will tell you that Odin was coming in very strong when I was creating this program. So I'm not altogether surprised. Well, I'm always surprised every time I pull cards that I'm like, wow, that's really reflective of what's going on. I kind of feel that surprise, but then I'm also like, well, it's now been happening for, 2 years, so I don't know why I'm so surprised. Okay. So main takeaways from this: find out where you're giving away your energy, where you're chasing something, whether it be a person or goal that's no longer serving you. Redirect your focus onto your specific path. Come back to your goals, your ambitions, your aspirations, your personal ascension process. And go ahead and collaborate with Odin. And if you're not connecting to Odin, like I said, he is the god of war and romance, which for so many of us resonates. Find the guide that does. If you want to get more insight, like I said, you can book a personal reading. I do have that Facebook group coming. But really, this is about redirecting your focus back to yourself. There is a monumental amount of healing that has happened, which is so wonderful for a lot of us to hear because you've been doing that work. But it is, what just kind of dropped in is that you are aware of how much you've healed. You are really kind of feeling this fatigue of how long you've been doing this with seeing in the 3D very little in return because your sights have been set on something or someone else. Turn them within. Just celebrate your own personal your progress, your practice is what I'm also getting. And look for the lamas. Set those boundaries. Even if the boundary is that you're gonna decide that you're gonna come into meditation and contemplate your path, your specific path for 10 minutes a day. That's a great way to move through this energy. But this is a call for all of us. This is another thing that's been coming through quite frequently, to view things from a higher perspective, to not get so stuck in and distracted and off track with what others are doing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this reading. Like I said, I'm going to drop a link to book a personal reading with me. I'm going to drop a link for my 5-day pop-up group. so that you can start getting your own spiritual wisdom as well as learn how to use it. Most important thing, getting that wisdom means nothing if you're not going to use it, right? And then, so Facebook group, the pop-up, booking a personal reading. As always, you're always welcome in Sisterhood of the Wild Feminine. We have a blast there every single day, various topics, various subjects, conversations with high vibe, light-minded sisters. So I hope to see you in one of those 3 spaces, maybe all of them, but have a beautiful week. So much love. Namaste.